I am going to take just a second here, like any good online video that you're trying to watch, and do a brief public service announcement, which your fast forward will not be able to get you past. Winter preparedness. My other hat is Homeland Security. We had a little issue here last January. I think a lot of you know about that, and I'm going to be testifying on behalf of the governor before our congressional or the Senate committee, U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security, one of their subcommittees on that, coming up next week. And so it's brought to mind the fact that today is December 1st, and we are entering winter, and we sure don't want to see our citizens in a situation like we saw last January. And preparedness and safety starts with you. So a couple just quick things. Please go and have your businesses and your employees and your colleagues go to readyvirginia.gov. And at readyvirginia.gov, we have begun our winter preparedness campaign. And you have plans there and recommendations there and all kinds of great things that you can do to prepare. Most importantly, we get snow in Northern Virginia. So we would ask you to please check your cars now. Make sure you, if you're going to drive in snow, have all-weather tires on your car. Make sure there's tread on your tires. Make sure you have chains in your car. Have snow boots, have blankets. My husband has 4 MREs. I'm a military wife. 4 MREs in my car. Of course, I drive all around the state, but that means I can survive for four days. That's 2,000 calories an MRE, I believe. Please listen to the news. It's wintertime. Please check the weather before you leave your home. Even if your place of work does not say we're closed today, that doesn't mean you're not responsible for yourself and checking the weather personally and making sure that the road conditions are going to be such that you and your family are comfortable with you being on the road. And finally, please make sure you have a preparedness plan and your family knows what your plan is. We all know that when we have an emergency, we lose cell phone capability. So calling your spouse and calling your teenage children and calling their schools probably won't work. So it's important that they know now what your plan is during an emergency. My plan is a quick text message to my husband that says, I am fine, going to the Emergency Operations Center now. His text back is, I am fine. We text because text has a much broader band capacity than cell phone usage does, and we know a text message, even if it doesn't go immediately, will set up in a queue and eventually get to each other. We also know that if you call outside the area, sometimes you can get a signal when you can't when you're calling within the area. So we have a relative that we also call out to say, I am safe, I am fine, and now engaging on my emergency plan. Make sure you also know what your school emergency plans are for your children, because you're much more likely to be comfortable staying in place until the event is over if you know your children are safe. And if you're not familiar with your school's emergency plan and you can't reach them on the cell phone, our concern is you're going to get in your car and drive, and we don't want you to do that during an emergency. We want you to stay in place until the emergency is over, especially if there was any kind of radiological event, because we don't want you moving that contamination to other areas. So there you go. That's my public broadcast statement. And now I will put on my other hat real quick. I have 4 minutes left. But I thought that was pretty darn important, given that it's December 1st. You know, I have a great boss, and I have great colleagues. It is so wonderful to serve with Sean Connaughton and with Jean Marie in the governor's cabinet. We have a great team. The governor is very, very attuned to the defense sector and its impact on our economy here in Virginia. This is very important to him personally. He is hands-on when it comes to these issues. Why? You know, he was elected back in 1991 to the General Assembly. So he went through 2 rounds of BRAC in the 90s, and he went through a round of BRAC in 2005. And then, as you all know, we just went through the GIFCOM issue and the contractor reduction or efficiencies issue. So he's got some experience at dealing with these problems and what some of the best practices are. And he's done a number of things. When he ran for office, he made a campaign policy statement that once elected, he would form by executive order a commission of advisors that would be his brain trust on defense sector issues, folks that had backgrounds both in DOD experience, from the civilian as well as the military active duty side, and folks that had experience in the defense industry side. And so this commission was formed in August of 2010. It's called the Virginia Military and National Securities Facilities Commission. And so we actually meet on a pretty regular basis. We do a lot of stuff informally also. And we pass all of this intel back to the governor, and we form strategic plans. We were very effective when we had the GIFCOM situation. We were told we were going to completely lose GIFCOM, zeroed out. We were able to retain 50% of GIFCOM once this group went into action. Not perfect. We'd love to have had all of it. We'd love to have kept the actual authorizations that GIFCOM originally had for some of the contracting functions. But the bottom line is that we were able to save jobs, and the governor is looking at these next steps in the same manner. We know we're on the hot seat. We know every state in the country is watching Virginia. We know that the bond rating agencies are watching Virginia. The governor formed Executive Order 39 not long ago, which is a group, an internal group in the cabinet, where we are looking at every single way we can to help our economy become more versatile, to use skill sets we've developed because of the defense industry and move them over to the non-defense industry, while still loving, embracing, and attracting the defense industry and growth everywhere we can. So we are looking at things like modeling and simulation. GIFCOM, the Joint Forces Command, was a big customer of the modeling and simulation capabilities in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So what can we do now to help fill some of the gap if we're going to lose some of the GIFCOM demand? We're working on that with the subject matter experts, with internal groups within the cabinet, and with folks like you. We're looking for intel. A lot of what our brain trust provides to us and goes directly to the governor is intel. What's going on out there right now? DoD entities are beginning to engage on their contingency plans for reductions. We want to know, what are they reducing? We're out in the field. We're meeting with the installations. We're meeting with anybody that'll talk to us and give us that intel so that we can develop strategic plans to help mitigate those reductions, or to argue for a different plan, for a different path. You know, Virginia has the Pentagon. Virginia has the U.S. National Capitol. That was my timer. Okay. Those two things are not going to move. What we want is to attract more things to Virginia. If there's going to be a reduction and there's going to be consolidation, we want it here. One of the things we were very careful of with the governor's executive order was that we didn't say we don't want defense anymore, that we didn't say we're going to go out and look for other stuff. We still want defense. We still love defense. We still want to be the go-to place for businesses that do business with DoD. We want to look at opportunities to bring more of it here, to retain what we've got, and then also to help you find other ways to utilize your skills and your assets for other businesses besides just defense. So we're working hard. Some things we can talk about, some things we can't. We've got some FOIA exemptions so that we can be very strategic and very candid in what we're doing. And I would just encourage you all, your sources, you are sources for us of information, intelligence, and advice. Please don't be shy with that information. We want you to share it. My email address, if you look at your program, Terrie Suit, it's terrie.suit. You can just look at the spelling there, at governorvirginia.gov. It's a real easy one, and if you can't find it that way, just Google or Bing or use whatever search engine you use. You can find us, feed us the information you're hearing out there so we can help incorporate that into our planning. Thank you.